What's up, y'all? Back with another video. I just want to tell y'all, trust and believe. I know what it feels like when you just want to say, screw it. You give up. I don't got time to go to the gym. I don't have time to do any workout. You make all kinds of excuses. Life happens. Life is going to happen regardless. So as long as your heart is beating, life is going to happen. Good, bad, and the ugly. With that being said, from my personal experience, I've had some rough patches to where, you know, you put off, yourself for a minute to take care of others. Or, you know, for instance, I know in 2023, my grandmother passed away. She passed away at 103. I know a lot of people don't get to live that long. In fact, most of the population don't get to live that long. But she's lived, a long life. So passing away at 103, me and my family, we've taken turns, taking care of her at the house. She was in hospice care, for some months after, I'll say, the last maybe 2 months, 3 months of her life, she was kind of like restricted just to the bed. The only time she would really come out is when we give her a bath or something like that. But other than that, she couldn't really move on her own too much, you know. And so, I mean, that's just life. Yeah, it was hard, but I mean, at 103 years old, I mean, we were kind of prepared for it. It's like a any day kind of thing. But nothing will prepare me. You couldn't tell me after she passed, a year and a half later, my mom dies of cancer. And granted, she was one of the main people helped taking care of my grandmother the whole time, from the hospital, the home. It was me, my aunt, my sister, and her, all taking care of my grandmother. So now that she doesn't have a reason to stay at the house like all the time, she started to do some traveling, going to different countries, just doing what she wanted to do in life. She was going to retire. She had some money saved up. She was just going to, do some traveling to different countries and stuff. And I think life can be really unfair. Who knew she would only have a year and a half to do what she wanted to do after she spent so much time raising me, my sister, taking care of her mom, and before she could even retire, it'd be cut short. So I'm saying all of this to say, time is short. If you're going to do something, if you're going to get in shape, if there's a goal you want to achieve, do it now, because you never know how much time you have left. On top of that, the same year, in fact, my mom, she died January 5th, 2025, 5 days into the new year. So that's how my year was starting off. And then 5 months after that, around like 5 months, maybe 6 months after that, probably not even a whole 6 months, my cousin, he was there for my grandmother's funeral. He was there for me and my mom's funeral. And now I'm attending his funeral right after. And he's not that much older than me. And I'm like, damn. It really gives you a perspective of how short life really is. And for all of that to happen within kind of like a short span of time, between my mom, my cousin, on top of that being, having kids who I don't even, I think I only had one that was a year, and the other one she was like, a few months. She wasn't even a year yet, being a new dad. So just adjusting to that, since my mom's death was kind of like unexpected, like, no, she had cancer. She died of cancer, but just the preparedness for it, trying to fight. We didn't think off the bat that she only had a few months to live. So trying to adjust, all the paperwork in court and all of that stuff. I had every reason to just to say, you know what, screw it. I got other things to do. I'm just gonna put my fitness to the side and just whatever happens, happens. Yeah, I slowed down a little bit, but I didn't put myself because I'm thinking of long term, myself in the future. Number one, I already knew that's not anything she would want to do. Number two, I actually made a lifestyle change. It's just part of who I am now. You know, a lot of people have trouble sticking to a diet. And when you say sticking to a diet, it doesn't mean you eat, you know, you can't enjoy any food that you like. It just means you don't overindulge. And overindulgence, I know what a lot of people think is, oh, you just eat until you're full, or you don't have to eat until you're full every single meal you eat. You eat a snack, you gotta eat a bunch of candy until you're full, or that's overindulgence. And we've been programmed, to think that every time we sit down to eat, we have to be stuffed till we can't take anymore. And the stuff we get full on is usually not any nutrients going back into the body. So that's going to have an effect on you long term, probably not right then and there, but repeated action compounded over time is going to have an effect on you. And that's going to affect, your health long term. You won't be able to live to be 103, you know. And this is after what, several years, over a decade. She done had like my grandmother, she had like, a stroke and all of that stuff, and even the doctors couldn't believe how well she recovered. They said she probably wouldn't be able to walk. She was able to walk again and everything on her own, go use the bathroom on her own and all of that stuff. But don't take your health for granted. There's a lot of people out here who wish they can do the things that you do. And every day we take our time, we take our health, and just every day-to-day actions that we do for granted. Because trust and believe, if you have a goal that you want, you never know when your day is going to be. And trust me, the older you get, the faster it seems time go by. So if you're going to do something, instead of just stopping and going, when it comes to fitness, oh, I try to do this, I try to do it. The fastest way to get in shape, because people think there's all kinds of shortcuts, there's all kinds of, a new way. The human body hasn't really changed too much in probably the last, how many 100,000 years. The biology is still the same. You eat food, you get nutrients from the food, your body uses it as energy. And with all this processed stuff going around, you don't really, all that processed stuff just gets stored as fat. There's not really any nutrients. So you wonder why the average testosterone of men over the years have gone down, people become more and more and more and more out of shape, even though we have access to more information than ever before in the history of the world. But it seems like as a species, we're regressing instead of progressing. Even though we have all these breakthroughs in science and all of that stuff, people on average are getting in worse and worse and worse shape. And this is due to a lot of just processed food has just become the norm. You know, and a lot of times you don't even realize it. Like, oh, I'm just gonna eat this. It's not that bad. I mean, you know, but compound over time. It's just like if you don't take care of your car, over time, certain parts wear out a lot faster. You know, your gas mileage goes down. You don't get tune-ups. You don't get oil change. You don't get new tires. Everything affects the performance of the car little by little. That's the same thing you're doing with the food that you eat. Yeah, I do eat pizza, but I probably eat pizza maybe once every, what, maybe 2 months or so, if that, you know, or, you know, certain things, and then there's healthier options. That's if you're going to make ground beef. I make burgers and stuff like that. I like making my burgers with barbecue sauce and stuff like that. You know, I get the 90, you can get 95.5 lean beef or the 97.3 or whatever. It's going to be a little bit more, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper than paying for medicine. I promise you. Paying a little bit more for healthier food is going to be a lot. You're going to be saving yourself a lot more money over time, because think about later on down the line, the medicine is expensive now. So imagine later on down the line, years later, with inflation. Yeah, that medicine is going to cost even more. So I'd rather, you know, pay it forward and eat healthy now and still be able to do everything I want to do, instead of trying to save $1 or so, maybe $2, and then pay thousands more, you know, later. So don't neglect yourself. It doesn't matter if life gets tough. Life is going to kick your ass. Trust and believe. Things are going to happen. People are going to die. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter. I'm saying you can't neglect yourself in the process. And a lot of people neglect themselves, or they come up with reasons why they can't do something. A lot of people, they have 30 minutes. You don't have to even go to a gym. You can just, even if you can't do a full push-up, do push-ups on your knees, or just lean against the wall. You could just lean against the wall and go like, start off like that and see how many you can do. And then make it more challenging. You just lean a little bit more, and then you lean a little bit more until you're able to actually get on the floor and do a full push-up. Anywhere you can, that can hold your body weight. Even if you can't do a whole pull-up, get there and just hang and just see how far you can go up. And then, you know, you get a little bit more over time. There's things you can do without any equipment. You could look up calisthenics workouts. You know, they use no equipment. As long as there's a floor and a wall, that's really all you need, the ground you stand on. So don't neglect yourself. And if you don't know where to start, if you don't know what to do, you don't have any kind of direction, you don't know kind of what foods or anything like that to start off, I do run a training program. I help men get in the best shape of their lives. I have clients right now getting results. And trust me, they're going down belt size. Some of them, their underwear is starting to, they have to buy new underwear because their waist size is getting smaller. So now they putting on pants, they get into the last loop of the belt, and you know, they got to keep adjusting their underwear, you know, because now that's sagging. Just, and it's nothing crazy. You don't have to starve yourself. You just have to change how you look at food and what you eat. And I can help you do that. So if you want help getting in shape, if you want to know where to start and take out all the guesswork, making it hard, doing it yourself, just hit me on my Instagram. I'm going to have the link in the description down below. I'll see y'all next time.